Hello YouTube, StuckInAPool here, and today we've got some more Fire Emblem Heroes stuff for you. Specifically, I'm putting together a short little guide on how to grind SP fairly quickly. Now that we don't have the Warriors maps anymore, there isn't a great way to do it when there aren't any Tempest trials up. So this is a fairly economical way to do it when there's nothing else available like a Tempest trial or until the Warriors maps come back. I figured now would be a good time to do this since we're about to be bombarded with new characters. And there's nothing worse than getting your new character, leveling them up, giving them some skills, and then sitting down and calculating how much more SP you're going to need before you can give them all the skills you want them to have, and thinking about how long it's going to take you to get all that in the training tower. So the best way to do it is actually using a chain challenge map, specifically the chain challenge for chapters 9 and 10 of the main story on normal mode. So this map is set up with level 35 units, so it's a little easier than if they're all 40 plus. But it's high enough that you're still going to get SP no matter what. It lets you grind out 9 maps worth for only 30 stamina, whereas in the training tower that would take 90. And a lot of the maps have reinforcements, so you get a lot more units per map in some cases. Now notice I mentioned 9 battles. That's because you don't want to finish the 10th, because if you do, then that challenge will count as completed, so you won't get as much SP from then on out. So you always want to surrender on the final map, and you'll still get the SP and experience and everything else from the first 9 maps. You just won't get it for the 10th. So what kind of team are you going to want to bring on this map? Well, obviously you want your unit that you're training. Aside from them, one of the more important things you're going to have is a unit that can cover their weakness. So obviously they do okay if they have a color advantage, and with support they can probably handle if they're on an even playing field. But if they're at a color disadvantage, then obviously they're not really going to be able to handle it on their own. So it's definitely good to have someone that can counter the color they're weak to. Next you're going to want a dancer, and that dancer can be the unit that I mentioned before if you have a well-trained dancer of the proper color. Next you're going to want a healer, because 9 maps is a lot, and chances are you're going to be taking a decent little amount of damage. So having someone that can do that is good. You could just run a unit with Breath of Life, but that's honestly not very consistent, and the heals aren't all that much. And on top of that, you don't want someone else doing any attacking and potentially taking any SP away from the unit you're training. And so that's 4 units, but if you're able to have someone do more than one job and you have an extra spot, and you have a unit that has it, I would suggest a Valor skill, because obviously getting twice as much SP per kill is great. And the last thing to consider if you do have that extra slot, specifically if you are training a ranged kind of glass cannon unit, you want to have a unit that can stand in front of them and take hits from melee units. Ideally like an armor with high defenses, and just take their weapon away from them so they don't take any kills. And some other things you might want to consider. If you're training a unit that you are completely and utterly devoted to building up, and you have some blessings laying around, that blessing will give them double SP all the time, so that'll speed things up pretty well for you. And speaking of getting double SP, if you're going to sit down and devote some time to it, I would suggest you do it on a weekend if you're able, because obviously during the weekend, which Friday and Saturday count as a weekend, not Sunday, then you're going to get twice as much SP per kill. So if, say, it's a weekend and you have a unit with a blessing, and they have an ally with a Valor skill, then they can get up to 24 SP per kill. Also, I would be sure to go into your settings in game and turn off combat animations as well as map animations. That'll save you a little bit of time. Also, it's a good idea to make sure your units that are supporting the unit you're training have good ways to boost their stats. Just hones and spurs and things like that. Also, even though you have a healer with you, I wouldn't recommend running Fury on the unit you're training. They're going to be in and out of combat a lot, and even though they're going to be healed, that chip damage can really add up over time, since you're going to be fighting a lot of enemies, and you don't want to risk them dying on like the 3rd map or something, because then you just waste a bunch of stamina for nothing. So I made 2 kind of sample setups. In the first example, we're going to be SP grinding a melee unit, specifically Erica here. Say I want to save up some SP for her to give her some more skills, and maybe potentially for one of those days when she gets a weapon refinement. So in the second slot we have Performing Azura, who is both a dancer and covers Erica's type weakness, or color weakness, which would be blue. And in the next slot we have a healer. We have Mist. She has Recover Plus, so she's pretty much always going to be topping Erica off. And she also has slow, plus she has a lot of health actually, so she can somewhat tank, even though she's kind of slow. And in the last slot, since Erica really doesn't need anyone to be doing any walling for, and we have our dancer and healer, and we have her weakness covered, I just went ahead and put another dancer in, and he's blue just in case there are any reds that Erica runs up against that she has trouble with. In our second example, say we have a Lind. I just got her, and I kind of want to get her some SP so I can give her some skills. So aside from her, in the second slot, we have Olivia, which covers her weakness to greens, as well as being a dancer. The next slot we have Jenny. She's our healer, and she has physics, so she can kind of stay a little bit more out of danger. And her attack is pretty high, so she still gets a pretty decent heal off every time. And Lind doesn't have that much health anyway, so it works out pretty well. And in the fourth slot, since Lind is a very much glass cannon, I put a unit that can be pretty much a wall. So we put Amelia down here, and I took her weapon away. And she's got pretty good mixed defenses, and she's fast enough that she can survive really well. So she can kind of stand in the way to make sure nothing gets to Lind. So yep, that's my guide for grinding SP. As I mentioned, you know, there are better ways to do it that are only occasionally available. This is just the best way to do it when those methods aren't available. Tempest Trials and Warriors maps still beat this, but while we don't have those, this is your best option. So anyway, thank you all for watching this little guide. Hopefully it helped you out a little bit, and I hope in the coming days with all the new banners coming out, and the Grand Hero Battle and the Tempest Trials and all that, I hope you get some good units that you wanted, and hopefully this will help you train them up and give them some SP so you can give them all the skills you ever wanted them to have. So once again, thank you all for watching, and I hope I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.